This 26 Sports and CCTV high school football presentation is brought to you by Wolverine Power Cooperative and Great Lakes Energy. Your local electric cooperative is looking out for you. And by Munson Healthcare Cadillac Rehab Services.
Welcome back to Veterans Memorial Stadium here at Cadillac High School on homecoming night. We got to witness Tip Baker score 3 touchdowns in the first half and get crowned homecoming king. So it was an eventful first half, but we got second half football action coming at you. The Lakewood Vikings trailing the Cadillac Vikings heading into the third quarter, 20-0. I'm Derek Tate alongside Jeff Castillo on your 26 Sports and CCTV Michigan High School football game of the week. As we already mentioned, it's been the Tip Baker show in the first half, and Cadillac will start with the football to begin the third quarter.
Yeah, they will, and we're gonna find out in a hurry here if Lakewood's defense has got the offensive Cadillacs figured out.
There's been on a couple occasions in the first half where the Lakewood defense would diagnose a couple of those sweeps or fullback dives up the middle and stopped them for little to no gain. But one of the things we got to keep in mind is we saw Tip Baker towards the end of the second quarter kind of limp off the field on one of those late possessions for Lakewood. We see him on the sideline at the, well, we're not quite in frame at the bottom of your screen, but he is trying to warm up. We'll see how much action he gets in the second half.
Yeah, that is something to keep an eye on. He's kind of working it a little bit and trying to get the kink out of it. Looks like maybe an ankle or a foot or something, but looks like a pretty tough kid. I'm sure we're going to see him here in the second half.
And it's going to be Aiden Gurdon, the quarterback, all the way back and receiving the ball at the 15-yard line, takes it out past the 35, and that's where Cadillac will get its first possession of the second half. 3 touchdowns on 3 Tip Baker carries, and he did punch in the last of the 2-point conversions. They've went for 2 every single time tonight. Maybe something has to do with the conditions here, as it's been a wet, rainy game from the start.
Yeah, that just adds to that whole, it's got to be a perfect snap. You got to have a good hold. You got to get good footing and everything. There's a lot that goes on to an extra point kick more than meets the eye. So looks like they're kind of playing it safe and trying to go for 2 each time. 1st
and 10 at the 36-yard line for Cadillac. And it's Gurdon going to the air, and he's got Alex Barcheski, and he's off to the races, and he will score. Touchdown, Cadillac.
Wow.
62-yard touchdown connection. Aiden Gurdon to Alex Barcheski for the second straight week, and this one puts the Cadillac Vikings up 26-0.
What a way to start out the half for the Cadillac Vikings. Wow.
We saw Coach Mallory start his first offensive possession of this game with a play-action pass, and he dials up another play-action, and the tight end running wide open up the seam.
Yeah, that is certainly not the way Lakewood wanted to start off this second half.
And we'll get our first look at Libby Lloyd, the place kicker for the Cadillac Vikings, on to attempt the extra point. Good snap, hold, kick is up, and that one a little wide right. So the extra point missed, but the Cadillac Vikings, one play, 62 yards, and that one good for 6.
Increased their cushion right there and got the momentum going, got the crowd right back into it. So looks like it's going to be a good Cadillac night. And it was nice to see somebody else score a touchdown other than Tip Baker. I mean,
right?
You got to kind of spread the wealth just a little bit.
So the second straight week.
Yeah.
We've seen Gurdon though go to Barcheski. I mean, but you're absolutely correct. I mean, that little play action. We saw a heavy dose of Tip Baker in the first half, but we see this sophomore showing that he's really coming of age with this. His opportunity with Tip Baker dealing with a shoulder injury since game 1.
Yeah, and just real good experience. He's got command of the offense right now, so they've really got it going. Now, let's see if the men in white can get it going tonight. The Lakewood Vikings, they have got little to nothing done on offense all night, so let's see what happens here.
I'm interested to see what adjustments head coach Matt Marquardt. It's a tough night conditions-wise. You don't have your starting quarterback, and you got a Cadillac defense that 4-4, and those 4 linebackers have played a heck of a first half.
Yeah, they have. They're kind of swarming. They're just busy. They're right there. They're quick, making good keys.
Colin Hess kicks off, and Sawyer Stepker able to gather it at the 13-yard line. Stepker bends it outside, Cuts it
Watch
back
out
and
for
run.
him. Oh, he ran into his own guy. Otherwise, he might have had some room there. He is quick.
He ran into Donovan Pratt, his own teammate, who essentially gets the assist on the tackle. Number 33 will log it. Jakin Metzger will get credit with the box score tackle. And it's going to be tough field position for that Lakewood offense to start their first possession of the third quarter.
Yeah, this half is not going the way they were hoping to right off the get-go. Give up one touchdown on one play, offensive play, and then get caught deep in your own zone. So, well, it's time to regroup. Let's see what they've got.
And we're going to see Jace Hansen starting under center for Lakewood. Two tailbacks, Sweet and Garrett Stank. And it's Sweet who gets the call up the middle. And there's nothing doing. He tries to bounce it outside, and he is gobbled up by a swarm of Vikings defenders. Loss of 2 on the play.
Yeah, you just, there's a whole half of football to go here. You just hope that touchdown strike right away just didn't totally deflate the Lakewood team, because they've got some time here. They can't just put their heads down and get 2 down here. They've got to get it going.
So even if tonight this one is definitely not over yet, but you still want to take away some positives as they have a 2nd and 12 at the 8-yard line. And the give goes to Garrett Stank. And that one blown up in the backfield yet again. That is Bryce Benjelink at the defensive tackle spot. Read that one like a book and blew it up in the backfield. Consecutive losses for this Lakewood offense.
Yep, they're going in the wrong direction. No doubt about it. And again, as we mentioned earlier, these teams are unfamiliar with each other. They have never played each other before. So, and I don't know if this game is going to keep going in the next few years, but Lakewood's got to get it figured out, or they're not going to want to make another trip up here. See this Cadillac team.
Would not want to see Veterans Memorial Stadium again. If it's been a rough outing. The weather certainly hasn't helped, but considering that it's been raining this entire game, it's going to be a timeout from Lakewood. But we haven't seen any turnovers yet, which is for high school football, considering the conditions, is pretty impressive.
Right. Until you mention it, of course. Now we're going to see about 3 or 4 in this next quarter. No,
the old announcer jinx.
Exactly. Did you have to really do that?
It's really a thing.
Oh, all right. Well, as I think Odessa took a timeout here, so we are going to mention a few of our sponsors, what we can get in. We might have to break this in 2. Let's see how it goes. So we want to thank our sponsors for this game. Game is presented by Munson Healthcare, Cadillac Hospital, Wolverine Power Cooperative, and Great Lakes Energy. Fox Motors of Cadillac, your local Ford and Toyota dealerships. LC Materials, the concrete experts. Doug Glass of Cadillac for all your home and auto glass needs. We've got Builders First Source in Cadillac, your first source for flooring. Stop by and see them today. We have Tasty Treat in Lake City. Stop by the Tasty Treat to get your dinner before every big game. Best Demolition, your local home wrecker. They can wreck anything that you need. Pancho Villa Mexican Grill in Lake City, featuring Monday specials like 5 beef or chicken enchiladas for $5. Lake City Family Pharmacy and McBain Family Pharmacy for all your prescription and vaccination needs. I'm going to stop for just a second here.
And Hansen's pass nearly intercepted by Colin Johnson. His intended target was Sawyer Stepker, but that one well behind him. Again, tough to throw that wet ball, and that'll bring up a 4th and long.
Yeah, that was really close to an interception. They got really lucky on that one, but they're going to be, looks like they're going to be punting out of their own end zone. We've got 2 more sponsors I want to quick get in here before we go. We got Bowman and Rogers in Lake City, your local accounting team. And as always, Pizza Plus, Cadillac's local source for pizza and sandwiches for over 50 years in Cadillac. Thank you so much for your sponsorship.
Yeah, thank you to all of our sponsors, and even had some Pizza Plus at halftime. No wonder they've been around for 50 years. And that's a high snap, but handled by Brandon Sweet. And that punt takes a Lakewood bounce past the 40-yard line, but it's still going to be Cadillac that takes possession and starts in Lakewood territory at the 43-yard line, looking to add to their 26-point advantage with 9:49 remaining in the third quarter. tough start for the Lakewood offense and defense here in the third quarter.
Yeah, and that was a pretty good punt actually out of the end zone. He kind of got a running start at it.
Considering the high snap, too.
Yes, the high snap kind of threw him off balance, but he was able to regroup and get a good kick out there. So you can't really ask much better than that, especially kicking out of the end zone.
As we have Aiden Gurdon with a 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line. Cochran gets the call. And he drags Jace Hansen, who's playing a little bit of defense for Lakewood as well, for a couple yards just past the line of scrimmage. Well, actually, they'll give him 3 down to the 40-yard line, and it'll bring up 2nd down.
Yep, you see a lot of that ground attack by the Vikings. Of course, I think they caught him by surprise with that pass on the first possession of this half. Going back down to the ground game.
We got a 2nd and 7 at the 40-yard line. And it's Cochran again on the call. Right behind big old number 76, Ryan Wood. He's dragged down in the area for Lakewood. That's going to be John Hewitt. And Hewitt actually caught the game-winning touchdown pass with less than a minute remaining in the 27-21 victory over Leslie.
Okay.
We haven't heard his name called very much tonight, though, unfortunately. It's been tough sledding on the offensive side of the football, but Hewitt with the stop. That brings up 3rd and 4 here for Cadillac. Cochran, and he's going nowhere.
Yeah, big number Josh Kronk, senior.
Ran into a wall.
Yes, he did.
Number 72. Unfortunately, Cochran put his helmet right between the 7 and the 2, and Kronk just gobbled him up and fell to the ground, and that's going to be a loss and bring up 4th and 4, maybe 5, right around the 38-yard line, and it looks like the offense is going to stay out there.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't look like they're planning any punt strategy here. It looks like, yep, they do have the offense out there. Well, what the heck, you got a 26-point lead.
Got a lot of room to run there on the left hash. And here is the pitch to Colin Johnson, and that one blown up, and it's going to be a turnover on downs. Brent Sweet all over that one.
Yeah, well, maybe that's just the kickstart they needed right there. Nice play by the Lakewood defense. And, that's not a bad play on Cadillac's part. If my defense was playing that way, I'd have made the same play as a coach, so no problem there.
Especially even when you're considering in order to punt, you really only gain, best case scenario, 30, 40 yards of field position, whereas you have to do that long snap, and God, if the snap goes away.
A lot of things can happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Stingy defense they're playing tonight, so not a bad call at all.
Hansen with a 1st and 10 at the 42, and the give goes to Garrett Stank. And that is Luke Enyart blowing that play up just past the line of scrimmage. Garrett Stank, the leading rusher, only had 1 carry in the first half. It has been tough sledding against this Cadillac unit.
Yeah, it is. I would have thought they got more out of that. They had 2 lead blockers coming right up the hole on an ISO play, and they just weren't able to get it. That was a very nice defensive play, again, by the Cadillac defense. Leaves them on 2nd and 9.
It's been Cadillac that's bottled up Garrett Stank, and also Sawyer Stepker, the leading receiver for Lakewood. 2nd and 9 from the 43. Stank on the call. This time he breaks a tackle and still going.
Good
and
effort.
Up the left sideline, he's got the 1st down and more into Cadillac territory. He could go all the way, and he's not going to go all the way. He's knocked out just inside the 10-yard line, but right there you see why he's the leading rusher for Lakewood. Great run from Garrett Stank.
Yeah, and probably a touchdown-saving tackle also to go with it. But, boy, that's just what they needed to get a little momentum going here. Very nice effort. They almost brought him down, and he kept the legs churning, popped outside, and had some room to run.
We can go ahead and take a quick look at the instant replay from Garrett Stank.
Definitely the best play of the night for Lakewood.
He was dragging Luke Enyart. You saw Enyart, who had a handful of jersey, and then Stank hit the Jets up the left sideline. Great work by our crew, Wyatt Van Dynen. As we got 1st and 10 just outside the 10-yard line. That's Sawyer Stepker and Colin Johnson stringing that one out to the sideline. Loss of 2. Stepkers had nowhere to go on those jet sweeps tonight.
No, that was done perfectly defensively. That's exactly what you want to do, is force him outside, stretch him out as long as you can, let your help arrive, and make the tackle. He got nothing there. Actually, he got a loss of a couple yards on that one.
We've seen Colin Johnson, already mentioned by Coach Mallory, that he's the fastest player on this Cadillac roster. He's playing linebacker. We've also seen Tip Baker, who we know he's got some wheels. It's very hard to run horizontally on this Cadillac defense.
Yes,
2nd and 12 on the way for Lakewood.
Hard to run up the middle on them, too.
Yeah. And there's going to be a flag prior to the snap. And we'll get the call from head referee Mark Stewart, and that's going to be on Lakewood. That'll back them up 5. And this is the furthest that we've seen this Lakewood team as far as threatening to score so far in this contest, and it's been one of those nights for Lakewood with a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, but they're not giving up. So if they can get one in the end zone here, maybe get a 2-point conversion or something like that, they can get themselves within a few scores. So, and nothing else, get some momentum going. They got to get something. Give their defense a little bit of break here.
Jace Hansen working out of the shotgun on 2nd and 17 from the 19-yard line. Sawyer in motion. And that give is to Denny Sawyers, and another tackle for a loss. Guess who? Colin Johnston yet again in the area, setting up camp in the backfield for Cadillac.
Yeah, he's having a really good night on both sides of the ball.
We saw Colin Johnston put someone on their back, leading the way for Tip Baker on a toss sweep. We saw him nearly take one to the house on a toss sweep to him all around the left side, and we've seen him all over the place making plays for the defensive unit.
Yeah, I've still got that block going in my head. That was just a great, great football block. You don't see blocks that – you don't see much better blocking than that.
Hansen on 3rd and 19, lets it rip into the end zone, intercepted by the homecoming king. That's Tip Baker. And what hasn't this young man done tonight? He ends the threat with the first interception for the Cadillac defense.
Well, he is putting on a show. What a night he is having.
He's got 3 rushing touchdowns. He's got a 2-point conversion. He's got a crown sitting upon his head, and now an interception to go along with it.
That ball has got to be thrown a little bit harder than that. Floated out there. And, he made a very nice play on it. But, yeah, you got to throw a bullet down there.
Problem is how much grip do you have on that football? For the young man, it's been a rough night for Jace Hansen. And it's Cadillac's offense that has possession. 1st and 10 at the 14-yard line. Cochran gets the call around that left side, and he's stacked up by a couple Lakewood defenders leading the charge. Ethan Rodriguez, the linebacker for Lakewood.
Yeah, Lakewood didn't do themselves any favors by taking a false start penalty. As a coach, you're ready to rip your hair out when that happens. Holding, okay, you can live with that. The kid's trying to make a play. He's trying to stop a guy or whatever. You can live with that. But false starts, you just can't do that. That's mental error. Total mental error right there.
And we have an injured Lakewood Viking on the field. I don't quite have the number for you, but we'll of course, give you an update once we do, as Cadillac gained 3 yards, bringing up 2nd and 7. We want to go ahead and thank our crew, though, that is out there tonight, that has been manning the cameras and down there in the truck. Yeah, fantastic team effort.
Some of them out there in that wet weather, too, while we sit up here nice and dry. Well, we've got Wyatt Van Dynen in the van. He is directing tonight's action. We've got camera 1, Damian Brooks, doing a nice job. Camera 2, we have Dylan McCall. And again, Derek Tate and myself, Jeff Castillo, in the booth calling the game.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure, partner. And we've also got Alden McCoy. I had to get that name at halftime. We didn't have him written in there. I forgot to write it on your sheet. I'm a terrible partner, apparently.
No, not at all. Thanks for getting him in there. We certainly want to give him credit.
As we got a 2nd and 7 on the horizon, and it off on his own power was C.J. Morgan for the Lakewood Vikings. And here's a pitch. And the first carry of the night for number 22 around the left side, that's Dan Gray. And he's going to be past the sticks, gain of 10. And that's another first down for Cadillac.
Well, they're back to ground business.
Oh, yeah. We saw the air show for one play.
Well, it was well-timed and well-executed. That's for sure.
A 62-yarder to Alex Barcheski. He caught a 25-yard touchdown pass in last week's 3-point loss to Alpena. but most of the damage done on the ground as usual for Cadillac. They've got a 1st and 10 at the 28. That's picked to Carter Harsh. Trying to navigate through traffic. Nicholas Helt, the cornerback, coming up and setting the edge and brings down the Cadillac Vikings running back just shy of the 35-yard line, gain of 5. What you've noticed, though, mostly throughout tonight, the exception of maybe a few exceptions here or there for Cadillac, they've really stayed ahead of the sticks.
Yeah, they have. Field position has been in their favor for pretty much most of the night. And, with that ground game, they're just kind of chipping away at it, moving the sticks. Lakewood's got to come up with a stop here. They got to get the ball back, get their defense off the field, and see if they can get another big play going.
Gurdon, reverse pivot, gives to Colin Johnston. He slips a tackle and finally dropped just past the 45-yard line. Johnston with a 14-yard scamper and a 1st down for Cadillac.
Okay, and they didn't get that big play, big defensive stop that we were talking about, so Cadillac moves the sticks and they get a fresh 4.
Colin Johnston, we saw what he can do out on the edge. That one he takes right up Main Street for a gain of, check that, 17 yards. Good for a Cadillac 1st down at the 46. Gurdon gives. That one Noah Cochran to the left side. Nothing doing as the Lakewood defense up to the challenge. Stops him for a short gain. Number 72, we've seen Josh Cronk having himself a pretty nice night despite a tough matchup against Carson Razio and Ryan Wood.
Yeah, he's dealing with that big Cadillac offensive line, but he's holding his own and getting some tackles in there, trying to fire up the troops. Good leadership by number 72.
We've seen a couple. It's not like Lakewood, even though they haven't really gotten into an offensive rhythm yet tonight, we've seen them push into Cadillac territory on a couple occasions. It's just that Cadillac defense is stiffened up. 2nd and 9 for Cadillac. Pitch. That one, Dan Gray looking for running room, and beautiful pursuit from Lakewood on the stop.
Yep, number 3, John Hewitt on that tackle, senior. Made a nice play, no gain, forces a 3rd and long.
And this, if your head coach, Mark Wart, for the Lakewood Vikings, this is the situation that you've been trying to force all night.
Right.
Get Cadillac to have to play behind the sticks and long down in distance. It's just been few and far between.
Yeah, they've had their shining moments and everything, but they just can't get that consistency going. But, Cadillac's outplaying them, far and beyond. They are outplaying them on both sides of the ball. Let's see what they can do here on 3rd and long.
And on 3rd and 9, they dial up a handoff to Colin Johnston, and he plunges into Lakewood territory, but he's still going to be about 5 yards shy of the sticks. Gain of 5, but Lakewood, we'll see if Coach Mallory decides to punt here.
Okay, it looks like he's going to. He's getting some fresh jerseys in there. That might look like the punt team.
Yeah, number 2, Colin Hess, normally handles the punting duties for Cadillac.
Okay, and again, we are going to keep an eye on the long snap.
We don't see any. The only person I see back is possibly Dave Jones, the line judge, back around the 22-yard line, and the snap handled by Hess, and he angles that punt towards the right sideline, and Alan Hwang is going to go ahead and run that one down. Beautiful job as on the special teams unit, and it's going to be tough starting field position for Lakewood.
Yeah, not sure I quite understood that stand right there. It looks like I thought they were going to maybe go for the block, try to make something happen without anybody back, but then they kind of retreated. Just didn't look like they trusted that Cadillac was going to totally punt the ball.
I mean, what they did is they efficiently made them punt.
Yes, they did, but they are starting deep in their zone. They got to go with a long field.
We finally saw Garrett Stank, the leading rusher, pop a big one on the last drive despite the interception by Tip Baker. Lakewood still looking for its first score of the game, 1:12 remaining in the 3rd quarter, and a 1st and 10 at the 9-yard line. Stank straight ahead and puts his shoulder down into Enyart on the stop.
All right, looked like it was good for a long 3, almost 4 yards. Not a bad play to start off the drive, that deep in your zone.
You do want to see it. Stank, again, entered this game 8.1 yards per carry, and we've seen little bits and pieces of his ability to just create. I want to see a couple more carries for that young man here on 2nd and 7. As I get what I want. There's Stank again, but the Cadillac defense swarming all night long. This time leading the charge looks like number 11, and that's David Johns. First time we've called his name tonight.
Yep, senior, 6'4", big kid. Good to see him get in there and get some action and get his name called. Brings up a 3rd and about 5 for the Vikings of Lakewood. It looks like they are going to be content to let the clock run out and regroup in the 4th quarter.
So we got one more quarter here on this week's Michigan High School Football Game of the Week on 26 Sports and CCTV. It's the Cadillac Vikings who lead the Lakewood Vikings 26-0. And we'll be right back on the other side as we conclude this one at Veterans Memorial Stadium.